Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 10 out of Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all, like y'all rocking with me. I haven't been doing the clap in the last couple of videos just off the strength that I have a new mic in my phone and it doesn't appreciate it. It usually goes when I do it. So hopefully that doesn't happen for this video and I can bring the clap back because everybody's been commenting on it. Y'all want it back. It's original. It's been there since the start. So I'm going to try to keep it pushing. But hey, this video right here is going to be about how I was told I couldn't bang blood inside of the Hillsborough County Jail. Now this happened inside of the very first dorm that I was put into, but it wasn't when I immediately got in there. This was maybe a month to 2 months down the road, and another blood was transferred in from the Orient Road Jail. He was in the cooking dorm. He came back, he got into some trouble, whatever happened. I think he was fighting. Immediately when he came in, he was on some step down shit. You could tell he was aggressive. You could tell he had a point to prove. And he was trying to show out in any way possible that he could. This man was probably about 6'3 to 6'4. He was not, he was skinny, but he had a little bit of size to him. If you follow MMA, UFC, he's kind of built like John Jones. That would be like the best way to describe him. He's about 33, 34 years old. And come to find out, he had been in prison before. He was very familiar with prison, jail, the whole nine. There was a white dude inside of the dorm. This white guy claimed to be from Cross Fletcher, which is a hood inside of Tampa in North Tampa. And, he got the Boosie fade. He's all tatted up everywhere, this and that. And he's talking about bravado. He used to tell us being the jits, the younger, ones in the dorm from 18, 19, 20, whatever. He would tell us the stories about Brevard CI, which was a youth offender prison in Florida, and it was known as being one of the worst, the most savage. Air flights all the time, the stabbings, TOHs, locks and socks. Everything is going on inside of Brevard. It had a very savage history up until the point that it was shut down. Then that title was passed on to Indian River, which is another youth offender prison that was shut down. And then it passed on to Lancaster. By the time I got to Lancaster was the most notorious, and they shut down the YO at Lancaster. Now it's just an adult prison. So he's telling us these stories at the table about some of the things that he went through, and he's pretty much trying to paint an image to us. Like, yeah, this is everything that I went through. This is everything that was going on. As if that's going to give him more respect inside of the dorm that we're in. He was trying to use the history of the prison to somewhat boost his own self-image. The black blood that came in called that shit out immediately. He started asking him, what year were you at Brevard? He said the years he was there. It turns out the black blood was there at those exact years. So he starts pressing him on it. What dorm were you in? Why did I never see you? I never heard of you. Who else did you know that was there? What color are the fucking dorms? Everything. What COs do you remember? Dude couldn't really answer anything. Not because the questions were getting shot off so fast. You could just tell he was thrown off by the aggression coming from the black blood that just got put inside of the dorm. He's pressing him and he doesn't really have the answers. He's fumbling his words. Come to find out, he was never at fucking Brevard. If he was too scared to give the details, and he was pretty much told, don't speak on that shit. You didn't go through it. Don't act like you went through it, because I went through some shit there. I put in some pain there, and I went through some pain. So don't be in here faking for these younger jits that's in here trying to seem badder than what you is, because we can get on the yard and see who's really bad about that shit. Completely pulled his fucking flag. And we're all watching this shit like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause he was talking like he Billy Badass. Like he really bout that shit, this and that. He got guns tatted on him. And when the pressure came to him, he flopped. And he must have been like, I don't know, close to 30 if they were there at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Supposedly. But he just didn't have the heart to really stand up for himself. And that changed his whole respect inside of the dorm. Later on, he ended up getting bucked at the poker table. Someone owed him money they didn't want to pay. He didn't want to do anything. Now, there might have been 3 other bloods inside of the dorm at this time before this one came in. And we were on the rec yard. We're playing 21. And me and one of the bros, we piece up. And he was out on the rec yard. And he watched it. He was doing push-ups. And he comes up. He's like, hey, what's poppin'? What's poppin'? What that is? Y'all blood? Y'all homie? So we like, yo, what's up? So we start talking to him, and he's once again in that aggressive pressing shit type of confrontational, mindset, mentality, whatever you want to call it. That's how he's coming. Like, he's checking shit. Anytime somebody's doing that in jail or in prison, you don't necessarily want to answer the questions that they're asking. It's somewhat like 60 days in. Yo, what are you in here for? Don't be the guy that's like, da 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 da. Why? Because they're going to keep asking you questions, and the more information you're giving, it seems like you're giving in. It's supposed to be a mutual thing. You tell me, I tell you. I learned that in my last video, speaking with Demon, how he was able to ask me my charges, but when I asked him, I didn't get that information, and we left the conversation. I was looking at it like he got off on me because he knows more about me than I know about him at this point. And people take shit like that into consideration. That tells them about you and how much you're finna request information out of them to figure out who they are, or if you're gonna be dominant in the conversation. Everything is about dominance inside of the jails and prisons. So he asked the mixed homie that I was with, what is he? And he was mixed between Spanish and white. So he tells him that, oh, my mom is Puerto Rican, my father's white. Then he asked me, I'm like, I'm Irish and Italian. He's like, oh, so you just straight white, you're not mixed with nothing? I'm like, man, I'm white. He's like, oh, ain't no white homies. I'm like, you got me fucked up. Like, I'm not going for none of that. You know what I'm saying? What I always was confused about going through county after this point was the whole you can't be a white blood. Because when I was on the street of Tampa, I was around other whites either pushing blood or black pea stone. It wasn't just me. There was even white kings, and there was some white GDs. There was a GD that came from Chicago. He ended up getting killed or whatever. Some shit like that happened. Matter of fact, he was a SD. He wasn't even a GD. Because when I was on the streets of Tampa, our specific block that we had in North Tampa, I wasn't the only white boy on that block. I was one of the only white boys that was official on that block, but I wasn't the only one around the block. So for us, it was never an issue or a question. It was more so, who are you associated with? Do you know your shit? Da da da. It wasn't a question of race until I went inside of the county. And this guy was making it an issue, and I wasn't about to fold up and none of that bullshit. So I'm standing my ground with the conversation. I'm more or less like, look, I don't care about none of that. I'm off of this block in North Tampa. This my people. What's up? Oh, all right, well, you gonna find out what's up inside of the prison. We ain't gonna push the issue in here, but you a jit, you gonna go to them YOs and you gonna find out what it is. And he was basically saying he's not gonna do nothing inside of the jail. Most likely I'm gonna go to prison inside of the youth offender prisons, and I'm gonna find out for myself. And I believe the reason he didn't max the gas or try to boot up and fight me like he did the other white dude was because the other bloods in the dorm was siding with me. And what didn't make sense is if I had lied and said, oh, I might have 3% Puerto Rican in me, I would have been good. He just had his own perception. He had his own beliefs. He had who he wanted in his circle and who he didn't. And whites was a group that he did not want affiliated with him. That's all it came down to. And I found that racism or that prejudice a lot inside of prison. I never really had an issue inside a county jail except for with this dude. And then even after that happened, like, he started being friendly. We're playing basketball, this and that, da da da. I don't believe we ever pieced up, but I'm piecing up with everybody else. And it was just like, all right, well, you don't like me, I don't like you. Okay, we're on good terms, we'll leave it at that. I'm not going to fuck with you. You're not going to fuck with me. An even older homie came in from Cross Fletcher who was about 37, 38. And that became my right-hand man. So we're sitting at the table with Spades partners. We're hanging out. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of just fell back with his beliefs. But what happens is if he had other bloods that agreed with what he said, I would have got beat the fuck up inside of that dorm. They would have jumped me. That doesn't mean I would have folded, but I would have went at it with my own people over his personal beliefs and the fact that they took his side. Versus I already knew the people in the dorm. I was already established with the people in the dorm, and they took my side in that given situation. Now, one of the conversations I had with the older homie, my Spades partner that was like 37, that I'll always remember is he told me people will twist their own beliefs into a common belief and try to make something that was for everyone specific to what they want it to be. And people will bring in their own ideals, which takes away from the original purpose and meaning of what it was you were following from the beginning. And that's what happens when things get watered down. When it goes from brotherly love overriding oppression and destruction to whatever somebody wants to make it. There's so many different acronyms for blood that people will pick which one suits their ideals the greatest. He told me throughout my time in the county, throughout my time in prison, if I go to prison, people will want me to fold. Some people may want to recruit me into their organization and want me to fold so I can join theirs. Some people may want me to fold because they don't like my organization. They're going to step to you and tell you, hey, you can't live here if you represent that. You got to hold yourself down. You got to be true to yourself and your cause. You can't let anybody derail you from your beliefs. You have to stand on your beliefs. If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So it doesn't matter what anyone else tells you. You ain't this for this reason. You can't be this for that reason. If you feel you're that, you push that shit, you stand on that shit, and that is what's going to get you respected. And he pointed out how that guy's energy and attitude towards the situation completely changed based on the opinions and perspectives of the other Bloods inside of the dorm, how they chose my side, and now he didn't even stand on his belief as much as he did the first day that we spoke and we met. This older homie was giving me straight knowledge, and it's the same thing when you go to prison. Other gangs are going to run up to you and say, hey, you got to fold. Other people are going to be like, why are you in that, bro? Fold that shit. Get into this shit. But it all comes down to you and you staying true to who you know, who you are, and what you believe in. And for me, I came in repping this shit from the street. I'm going to leave repping this shit, and that's just what it is. I'm not going to go for any other organization. I'm not going to ask for everybody to be on my side. If I got to go against everybody, it is what it is. But for me to go any other route, I didn't really respect it. I didn't think it would be a solid move. And I know a ton of people that came in banging, pushing blood, that became something else. Became kings, became Zos, became whatever it is, and they will most likely step down by their race. The Hispanics at Lancaster, if you came in blood, they wanted you to be a king and they enforced that shit. And if not, you were their biggest target. Same thing with the Zos. You had a lot of Zos and some hard rocking Zos that were Bloods on the street, and they came in, that people stepped to them, they folded it, and they became Zos. You know what I mean? But for me, I stuck with it. I wasn't going to let anyone tell me anything. And I remembered the conversation that we had, and I held true to that conversation. And I respect the older homies, the big homies, the OGs, the ones that sit down and try to teach you knowledge, the ones that sit down and teach you how to stand on your morals, teach you how to stand on being who you are. Even though people might perceive you one way, that shit doesn't fucking matter. It's how you perceive you, and if you are staying true to yourself, you can do no wrong. Now, like I said in the last video, jail, prison, it can be the greatest learning experience you ever go through if you are willing to learn, if you are willing to listen. There was so many my age that didn't want to hear anything from anyone older. They felt that they knew it all, and the trials and tribulations that they go through were 10 times harder than the ones that I went through because I was willing to be quiet and listen. And a fun fact is the same guy that started this whole thing went back to Orient Road in the kitchen dorm and started bringing people home, even though he had no green light to do so, no rank to do so. And from what I heard, people were trying to get at him about that, and his face was no good in the dorms anymore. So it's kind of funny how the roles reversed. The same thing happened at Appalachia. When a green light was put on my head for being white, Goo came, and the same people that put a green light on my head ended up checking PC and turned out to be no good. It's crazy how things work out. You got to stay true to yourself, to your cause, to your beliefs. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.